Hello and welcome to St James's, Islington in North London. My name's Isabel Nisbet and I'm delighted to be joined for this recording by three wonderful musicians, by Joan Taylor, our pianist, by Pat Williams, who on this occasion is going to be reading for us, and by Karol Janowicki, our composer, whose pieces we'll be doing towards the end of the programme. We are also joined in St James's by a group of friends spread out among the congregation who've come to join this occasion with us. And for many of us, it's the first time we've been able to make live music with friends for months and months and months, so it's a great pleasure to be able to do that. We've put together this programme on looking at different aspects of life. We've called it Life Observed. The first group, and each of them has got some readings and also some songs, is called Early Happiness. We'll hear one of e.e.cummings' lovely poems about childhood, and then two very early songs by Gabriel Fauré. The first one he ever wrote, Le Papillon et la fleur, Opus 1, which is a fantastical conversation between the butterfly and the flower. And in a letter, he said, "This was indeed my very first song, composed in the school refectory amid the cooking smells," is what he said. So I've imagined him with the turkey Twizzlers just being brewed in France. And then another early song, Au bord de l'eau, which is just a moment of simple perfection. The couple by the waterside, everything is perfect, they're happy, no complications, it will last forever. Well, the second group is a little bit different. We've structured it around Schumann's 5 settings of poems by Maria Stuart, that's Mary, Queen of Scots. And they're quite sad and solemn songs, really. But we're also going to include some readings about Mary, Queen of Scots, starting with Antonia Fraser's description of the young Mary leaving France for Scotland and how sorry she was. But we'll also hear a little bit in translation from Schiller's play, Maria Stuart, which Schumann would certainly have known. And then at the end, just before the last song, you'll hear a prayer in Latin. And this prayer was supposed to have been written by Mary on the night before her execution. And the translation into German, which Schumann sets, which you'll hear immediately after, is not just a translation of the meaning of the words, but it matches the rhythm and everything about the Latin prayer. And then, perhaps for some consolation, Joan will be playing Schumann's Romance, Opus 28, number 2 in F sharp. Now, this beautiful piece is the piece that Clara Schumann asked her grandson to play to her when she was dying in her deathbed. And you can see that the consolation in the music. Another thing to tell you is that this piano that you'll hear Joan playing on is a Bechstein that was built in 1896. Now, 1896 was the year that Clara Schumann died. So it isn't too fanciful to think the sounds you will be hearing are quite like the sounds that she would have heard in her last moments. And then we move to our third group, which is music by Karol Janowicki, and this is quite different. It's assertive and modern, rediscovering nature and ourselves, and we're including 2 songs, one which is taken from each of 2 groups of song settings by Karol Janowicki, to poems by George Surtees and Richard Robbins. We start with a poem by Richard Robbins, and then the 2 songs, and the final point in this concert is an amazing piano piece, Tango for Time Out of Mind, which Joan will be playing. So that's the journey. So we start going right back to the beginning with Early Happiness.
Maggie and Millie and Molly and May went down to the beach to play one day. And Maggie discovered a shell that sang so sweetly she couldn't remember her troubles. And Millie befriended a stranded star whose rays 5 languid fingers were. And Molly was chased by a horrible thing which raced sideways whilst blowing bubbles. And May came home with a smooth round stone, as small as a world, and as large as alone. For whatever we lose, like a you or a me, it's always ourselves that we find by the sea.
La pauvre fleur disait au papillon céleste, ne fuis pas. Vois comme nos destins sont différents, je reste, tu t'en vas. Pourtant nous nous aimons, nous vivons sans les hommes et loin d'eux. Et nous nous ressemblons et nous dit que nous sommes fleurs toutes deux. Mais hélas, l'aile emporte et la terre m'enchaîne, sort cruel. Je voudrais embaumer ton vol de mon haleine dans le ciel. Mais non, tu vas trop loin parmi tes fleurs sans ombre, vous fuyez. Et moi je reste seule à voir tourner mon ombre à mes pieds. Tu fuis, puis tu reviens, puis tu t'en vas encore, luire ailleurs. Aussi me trouves-tu toujours à chaque aurore, tout en pleurs. Ah, pour ce qu'autre amour coule des jours fidèles, ô mon roi. Prends comme mon racine, donne-moi des ailes, comme toi. S'assoit tous deux au bord du flot qui passe, le voir passer, tous deux s'ils glissent un nuage en l'espace, le voir glisser, à l'horizon s'il fume un toit de chaume. Le voir fumer aux alentours si quelques fleurs embaument, s'en embaumer, entendre au pied du solo l'eau murmure, ne pas sentir tant que ce rêve dure. Le temps durait, mais l'important de passer en profonde, qu'à s'adorer sans nul souci des querelles du monde, les ignorer et seuls tous deux devant tout ce qui lasse, sans se lasser, sentir l'amour devant tout ce qui passe, ne point passer. Sentir la passe, le point passé.
Mary Stuart set sail from France to Scotland. The day of embarkation dawned dull and misty, despite the fact that it was high August. Mary's wavering spirits were not lifted by the fact that a fishing boat in the harbour foundered and went down before the eyes of her watching party, with all hands drowned. What a sad augury for a journey, she exclaimed aloud. Now that the die was cast, now that the ships were actually lying in the harbour of Calais, ready to take her away from all she had known and loved and held dear for the last 13 years, Mary Stuart's steadfast spirit temporarily deserted her. There was now only the prospect of bidding farewell, as it might be forever, to her family, her friends, and above all, France. France, the beloved land of her adoption. As the galleys surged forward towards the unknown coast of Scotland, Mary herself gazed again and again on the fast receding coast of France. Clinging pathetically to that part of the ship which was still nearest to the French shores, she murmured over and over again, in a voice broken with tears, "Adieu, France. Adieu, France." Still mingling with the sound of the wind and the oars of the sea, her tragic young voice could be heard, eternally uttering its farewell, melancholy and prophetic. Adieu, France. Adieu, France. Adieu donc, ma chère France. Je pense ne vous revoir jamais plus.
Ich zieh dahin, dahin. Ade, mein fröhlich Frankenland, wo ich die liebste Heimat fand, du meine Kindheit Pflegerin. Ade, du Land, du schöne Zeit, mich trennt das Boot vom Glück so weit, doch trägst die Hälfte nur von mir, ein Teil für immer bleibet dein. Mein fröhlich Land, der sage dir, des Andes ein Gedenk zu sein. Ade. Herr Jesus, wenn sie getrönt mit Dornen. Beschütze die Geburt des Hergebornen. Und sei's dein Will, lass sein Geschlecht zugleich lang herrschen noch in diesem Königreich. Und alles, was geschieht in seinem Namen, sei dir zu Ruhm und Preis und Ehre. Der mich freut und quält, hält ewig mir den Sinn gefangen, so dass der Furcht und Hoffnung Stimmen klangen, als ich die Stunden ruhelos gezählt. Und wenn sein Herz dies Blatt zum Welt und kündet euch zu sehen mein Verlangen, dann, teure Schwester, fasst nicht neues Bangen, weil ihm die Macht es zu beweisen fehlt. Ich seh den Kahn in Hafen fast geborgen, vom Sturm und Kampf der Wogen fest gehalten, des Himmels heitres Antlitz Nacht umgraut. So bin auch ich bewegt von Furcht und Sorge, vor euch nicht, Schwester, doch des Schicksals Walten zerreißt das Segel oft, dem wir vertraut. Dem wir vertraut.
Mary addresses her circle of friends and supporters. Why these complaints? Why weep ye? Ye should rather rejoice with me that now at length the end of my long woe approaches, that my shackles fall off, my prison opens, and my soul, delighted, mounts on seraph's wings and seeks the land of everlasting liberty. When I was offered up to the oppression of my proud enemy, was forced to suffer ignoble taunts and insults most unfitting a free and sovereign queen, then was the time to weep for me. But as an earnest friend, beneficent and healing death approaches. All the indignities which I have suffered on earth are covered by his sable wings. The most degraded criminals ennobled by his last sufferings, by his final exit. I feel again the crown upon my brows, and dignity, possess my swelling soul.
Was nützt die mir noch zugemessene Zeit? Mein Herz erstarb für irdisches Begehren. Nur Leiden soll mein Schatten nicht entbehren. Mir blieb allein die Todesfreudigkeit. Ihr Feinde, lasst von eurem Neid. Mein Herz ist abgewandt der Hoheit Ehre. Des Schmerzes über was mich erzehren. Bald geht mit mir zu Grabe Hass und Streit. Ihr Feinde, die ihr mein gedenkt in Liebe, erweckt und glaubt, dass ohne Kraft und Glück kein gutes Werk mir zu vollenden bliebe. So wünscht mir bessere Tage nicht zurück. Und weil ich schwer gestrafet werd hienieden, erfleht mir meinen Teil beim ewigen Frieden.
Mary's final prayer. Late in the evening, Mary was told that she would be executed at 8 o'clock the following morning. Throughout the night, she could hear loud banging as the scaffold was erected in the great hall. According to tradition, she composed a final prayer in Latin, which she was speaking when the Sheriff of Northampton came to summon her the next morning. O Domine Deus, speravi in te. O care mi Jesu, nunc libera me. In dura catena, in misera pena, desidero te. Languendo, gemendo, et genuflectendo, adoro, imploro, ut liberes me.
O Gott, mein Gebieter, ich hoffe auf dich. O Jesu, geliebter, ich klagend im Staube verzagend, erhör, ich beschwöre und rette.
I Am I? By Richard Robbins. My face in the mirror, is that what I see? There's my body below, it's in both that I be. I know that I am, and am what I am. My hopes have their wings, the world goes round, my eye in its beam, and selfed in its swell. Bound to evolve, I know that I am, and am what I am. Will I bear the strain, and in life's passing wave a glimmer see?
What's best of all is sunlight, sunlight that we feel, only for some 10 minutes, even less. A sudden warmth, as if sleeping you had placed your hand against my cheek in tenderness. But tenderness is no part of the sun. Our hands bleach in white heat that carries all before it like a wave. It's what we feel that's mortal, tender, paradoxical. And we are shaken by the light in the street. Its angles, jagged as its blousy head, appearing from behind a roof or wall. To lie across a path, invade our bed. When caught in the corner of my eye, a bank of wildflowers, poppies and daisies breaches the pent dike. Rushes my mind, rushes my mind. In the flood, my heart tips the brim, dizzy with life, dizzy with life.
Supreme, to see